Oh man, that's a really tough question. I think with most of the things I did before music, it wasn't so much passion as it was drive and discipline that kind of propelled me forward, and that's why I quit those things, because I eventually came to a point where I realized I was spending all of my time doing something I didn't love. I just liked getting good at it. The only thing that I've been consistently passionate about throughout my life is writing poetry and storytelling in general, and that's what led me to music. To me, music is sort of a derivative of those things. Write a book of poetry, or write a book, or explore various ways of storytelling. I'm really interested in also video format and how we can use music to tell stories visually that change and inspire people's minds. I have a lot of Zimbabwean friends out here, and I don't feel like you're ever really detached from where you come from. What is it? The absence makes the heart grow fonder, so I feel like I think about it maybe even more than I did when I was younger. And granted, things have changed so much politically, but when you're in the middle of something, it's often difficult to really see what's going on. It's not like Zimbabwe is this place where people are sitting around complaining. You're living your life, happy to be alive. That's a quality that a lot of Zimbabweans have. When you start thinking about the world's problems all at once, it's overwhelming. And I think the result of that is often doing nothing. You're like, well, there's nothing I can do. But if you look around your community and you see what the problems are and you start there, that effect will move outward.
Trying to get to a place we got.
Well, I was always a lot younger than people in school, 3 to 4 years younger, depending on the time in my life. And I didn't really fit in socially because of that. And at Stanford, I went into civil engineering because I'd always been really good at math. And I can say honestly that math was something I was passionate about as a kid. I did it on my own. There's a certain point when you start studying something you love that for some people it can put you off to it, and kind of fell into a depression in college where everything came to a head, and I realized I had never really had friends in school. I didn't really like what I was studying. Music sort of pulled me out of that. I don't know why, but on a whim, instead of getting my textbooks, I bought a microphone and the like a recording program and a keyboard, and I just started teaching myself to turn my poems into songs, and I got something out of it I'd never experienced before. For me, mathematics is art. When you really get into the flow of a problem, it just flows, and you don't really know where you're going to end up. Sometimes you don't end up where you plan to, but you end up somewhere, and it's the same for me with music. I think that math and science can be very artistic things. It just depends on your passion. Yeah. Lately I've been writing more. For a while I counted my poem a day as a song, if I had written a song, because I like to think of lyrics as something you could read without music and without melody and still find a rhythm and a flow within them. But lately I've been doing a lot more poetry on the side. It varies. My songwriting process really varies from session to session. Sometimes I have an idea lyrically of what I want to say based on the emotion of a chord that's been played or a sound that's been played, and then I will do everything I can to make those words work. I think generally I value the meaning of a song more than anything, and the meaning can be conveyed through emotional music or truthful words. I can't love a song that doesn't mean anything and that isn't honest to the person who's writing it or singing it.
Or would I just get high without rich kids and immigrants?
I'm most inspired when I have the opportunity to change places often. I was reading a study about how your mind sort of preloads everything around you like cookies on a website. Anything new is added into the visual of your town or your neighborhood, but the rest is preloaded, and therefore I would think your emotions are kind of preloaded. So as a musician, changing my surroundings changes the alleys and avenues through which my thoughts can wander, and then I can write something new or unexpected.
So am I living life? My living
When I do get writer's block as a songwriter, I try to continue writing in other ways. So writing poetry or prose, or taking a walk and writing down sort of what I see around me, just observations. It doesn't even have to be creative in that way. And like just even those thoughts sort of help lead me back in the direction of being in a place where I can write another song.
You soon can't fight right off a beat mic. I love it.
There's one, my little sister and I used to jam a lot on songs that were meant to spread HIV and AIDS awareness. And the intention was so good, but the songs were so preachy. But I always wanted to say something, you know, about the things that I was experiencing, or my friends or family or society were experiencing. So although those songs weren't great, it's interesting to look back and realize I haven't changed in my intentions and how I want to use music. There's a difference every day I write with myself and every day I write with other people. There are days when you catch the wave and you're surfing and everyone's like, woo, let's ride this wave. And then there are days when you ride someone else's wave, and there are days when you are the editor or the person encouraging someone else's ideas, and days when it's your ideas that are being encouraged. And I think to have the versatility emotionally to be able to fill any role in a room is very important. You might have an idea but be afraid to express it to everyone around you because you're not sure if it's the one or if it's good enough. Finding that fearlessness in the studio gives you a sort of fearlessness in everything else.
When I roll that big fat skunk fist that blows out my brain and turns my lung inconsistent.
Living, I would love to collaborate with Bjork. Something that I've struggled with in being both a writer and an artist is maintaining freedom, right? Every session you go to, you learn about somebody else's rules for songwriting or somebody else's process for songwriting, and you can take those rules and add them to your tool belt, but it doesn't mean you should use them all the time. Bjork is somebody who, for me, has always practiced freedom and boldness musically. I'm generally interested in working with people who push me outside of the box even further. Currently, I'm working with a bunch of my closest friends who are all songwriters as well on a band called ASL, Age, Sex, Location. That's been a really fun process because the rule in that is to say yes to everything, and that we only have 14 hours to 3 days to make each album. Every song is on the album or the EP in the order in which it was written in, and you can't take any off. And it's been amazing to see how when you say yes to everything, things turn out better.
I can see them wrecking every evening, but
a couple of things. When I started in music, I wish someone had told me, or that I was more certain of, firstly, my instincts, because it's your instincts that get you to whatever your room you're in the first place, you know. It's your friendships and your relationships that will yield the best results musically and financially. I've almost never had a cut with someone who wasn't one of my closest friends.
Looking over with the coldest shoulder.
I don't know anything, right? I'm constantly learning new things or thinking I know something and then realizing I don't know anything in life, not just in music. I actually think, though, that would be the advice, to accept that you're never going to be the best. If your goal is to constantly grow and become better, you should surround yourself with people who are a lot better than you are, and lose your ego in those scenarios so that you can truly absorb the wealth of
I wish I could forget.